Before you fall asleep tonight, I want you to know something. There is a 2-minute ritual, rooted in Carl Jung's own research on the unconscious mind, that almost no one has ever been taught. And the strange part is, it costs you nothing, it takes no effort, and it works while you are unconscious. Stay with me until the end, because by the time this is over, you will have all 7 phrases, one for each night this week, and the first one alone may already start to change how tomorrow feels. There is a door inside your mind that opens only once every day. It stays open for just a few minutes. Almost no one knows it is there. And the few who do, the ones who have learned to walk through it on purpose, quietly become the people the rest of us cannot quite explain. You know them. You have met them. The person at work who somehow rises without ever seeming to strain for it. The one who has kept the same quiet promise to themselves for years while you cannot keep one for a week. The friend who lost almost everything and somehow a year later seems lighter than they were before it all fell apart. You have looked at people like that and wondered what they have that you do not. And I want to tell you tonight that it is not discipline, and it is not luck, and it is not that they were born different from you. It is something much smaller and much stranger than that. It is what they say to themselves in the dark in the last few minutes before sleep, because there is a window every single night right at the edge of sleep when the part of your mind that guards the door steps quietly away. Neuroscientists have a name for this drifting half-dreaming state at the threshold of sleep. They call it the hypnagogic state. And the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung spent much of his life studying exactly this threshold. The place where the waking mind loosens its grip and the unconscious rises up to meet it. He believed that what happens in that doorway shapes us far more than we know. That the words we carry across the threshold into sleep do not simply fade. They sink down into the deep mind and quietly arrange themselves there, becoming part of the soil out of which tomorrow grows. Think about what that means. Every night for as long as you have been alive, you have been speaking something into that doorway. No one taught you to do it. No one told you it mattered. And yet every night you have been carrying something across the threshold, some final thought, some last feeling down into the deep part of you where it takes root. The question was never whether you are doing this. You are. You always have been. The only question is whether you have been doing it on purpose or by accident. And here is the truth that may be difficult to hear. Most people do it by accident. They lie there at the end of the day and let the worst few seconds of it play again and again. The thing they wish they had not said. The look on someone's face. The message that never came. They carry that across the threshold night after night. And then they wonder why years later they are still the same frightened person they kept promising themselves they would stop being. Tonight, I am going to give you 7 things to carry across that threshold instead. 7 phrases, not vague affirmations, not the empty kind of positivity you have already tried and quietly abandoned. 7 specific phrases, each one built in a language the deep mind actually understands. Each one drawn from what Jung understood about how a person becomes who they are. 7 phrases for 7 nights. But before I give you the first one, there is a single rule, and if you break it, the door stays closed and none of this works. So stay with me because I am going to show you exactly what it is. Jung wrote that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That is what tonight is about. Taking back the pen. And if that idea moves something in you, if some part of you recognizes it as true, then take a moment now before we go deeper to hit subscribe and turn on notifications, and let this be part of how you walk that path. Your longest and most important journey is the one that leads back to yourself. Let us walk a little of it together tonight. And I want you to understand that this is not a trick, and it is not a shortcut, and it is not one more thing for you to be good or bad at. It is simply a doorway that has been open every night of your life. And tonight, perhaps for the first time, someone is showing you that it is there. You do not have to do it perfectly. You do not have to feel anything in particular. You only have to lie here and breathe and let the words I am going to give you settle into the quiet at the edge of sleep. The deep mind does not grade you. It does not keep score. It only listens to what you carry toward it as you cross over into sleep. And it takes what you give it and it works with it through the night. The way the ground works quietly with a seed it has been given. Asking nothing, simply doing what it does in the dark. And before we begin, let me tell you why this works at night specifically and not at any other time of day. Because once you understand it, you will guard these few minutes for the rest of your life. All day long, your mind is busy defending itself. It filters, it argues, it second guesses, it holds the world at a certain distance so that you can function. This is necessary. You could not survive a day without that filtering. but it means that during the day, almost nothing you say to yourself reaches very deep. It bounces off the surface, argued with before it can land. At night though, as you drift towards sleep, that whole defensive apparatus begins to power down. The arguing mind grows quiet. The filter thins, and for a few minutes right at the edge of sleep there is a kind of open channel straight down into the deepest part of you. A channel that is closed at every other hour of the day. This is why the same words that would bounce off you at noon can sink all the way in at midnight. It is not the words that change. It is the openness of the channel. And tonight in these few minutes the channel is open. That is the whole opportunity. That is why we do this now, and not in the morning, and not at your desk, and not in the middle of a busy afternoon. We do it now because now is when the door is open. Here is the rule. You cannot speak to the deep mind in the language of the waking mind. If you try, it will not hear you. It will hear only noise. Let me show you what I mean. Because once you see this, you cannot unsee it. And it changes everything about how you talk to yourself in the dark. When most people try to speak to themselves before sleep, they use the language of force. They say things like, "Tomorrow I will be more disciplined. Tomorrow I will not waste time. Tomorrow I will not let that person get to me." And then they wonder why night after night nothing changes. Why they are still exactly the same. The reason is that the deep mind does not respond to commands. It never has. It does not understand "tomorrow I will." It does not understand should or must or have to. Those are the words of the daylight mind. The planning mind. The part of you that makes lists and breaks promises. The deep mind speaks a different language entirely. It speaks in images, in pictures, in feeling and recognition. It is the same language. Your dreams are written in the language of symbol and sensation rather than instruction. So when you lie in the dark and command yourself to be better, the deep mind hears nothing at all. But when you give it an image, a picture of a person, a feeling of something already true, it leans in. It receives it and it begins quietly while you sleep to arrange itself around what you have given it. This is why the 7 phrases I am about to give you are built the way they are. Not one of them is a command. Not one of them is a goal you have to strain toward. Each one is an image, a picture of someone already in motion, already becoming, already on the way. You are not going to order yourself to change tonight. You are going to show the deep mind a picture of who you already are underneath everything, and then you are going to fall asleep and let it do the rest. And here is something worth staying for. Out of the 7 phrases I am about to give you, there is one, the 5th one, that most people almost skip past, and it is the one that ends up changing the most. So even if your eyes are heavy right now, stay a little longer, because you will want to hear that one. Jung had a name for this kind of inner speaking. He called it active imagination. The practice of entering into a quiet dialogue with the deep mind. Not to control it, but to listen to it and to let it show you what it already knows about who you are becoming. That is what these phrases are. 7 small acts of active imagination carried across the threshold into sleep. So let yourself begin to settle now. Let your body grow heavy. Let the day start to loosen its hold on you. And let us walk through the door together, one phrase at a time. And there is a reason this matters so much for tonight in particular. The waking mind, the one that gives commands, is loudest during the day when you are upright and busy and surrounded by things to manage. But here now at the edge of sleep, that mind is already growing quiet. It is already loosening its grip. This is the one time in the whole day when the deep mind is closest to the surface. When the usual guard has stepped back from the door, which means the language you use right now matters more than at any other moment. If you lie here and issue commands, you are speaking the daytime language at the 1 hour. The daytime mind has gone quiet and the words land on nothing. But if you speak in images, in pictures, in the gentle language of what is already true, you are speaking exactly the language the deep mind is waiting to hear at exactly the hour it is listening most closely. That is the whole secret of the threshold. Not effort, not force, the right words and the right language. At the one moment the door is open, the first phrase is this. I am becoming the person I have always quietly known I could be. Say it slowly to yourself now in the dark. I am becoming. Notice that it does not say I will become. It does not place the person you are reaching for somewhere far away at the end of a long road. You have to walk first. It says I am becoming. Present tense already happening, already underway. And the moment you say it that way, something shifts in how the deep mind receives it. It does not see a distant future self you have to earn. It sees a process already in motion, a person already on the way. And it asks one quiet question. What does that person do when they wake up tomorrow? You do not have to answer that question. You do not have to figure anything out. That is the whole point. You give the deep mind the image, and the deep mind answers the question for you overnight while you sleep in a language beneath words. And in the morning, you may notice yourself doing one small thing differently. Not because you decided to, not because you forced yourself, but because the picture shifted and your actions began quietly to follow the picture. Because here is what is true and what you already know somewhere beneath the noise. There is a version of you that you have been catching glimpses of for years. You have met them before in the moments when you surprised yourself. In the moments when you acted with a certainty you did not know you had. In the moments when you were briefly the person you keep suspecting you might really be. Underneath all the doubt and all the history. That person is not gone. That person is not somewhere else in another life you missed your chance at. That person is here inside you now, simply waiting at a frequency you have not been tuning into. And every night in the few minutes before you fall asleep, you get to choose whether you turn toward them or away from them. Jung believed that we are not meant to invent some brand new self out of nothing. He believed that becoming who you are is not a matter of adding something you lack, but of uncovering something that was always there beneath the layers of who you were told to be. So when you say, I am becoming the person I have always quietly known I could be, you are not lying to yourself. You are not inflating yourself with false hope. You are naming something that is already true and giving it permission to come forward. Just rest now. Just breathe. Let the phrase settle into you. I am becoming the person I have always quietly known I could be. You do not have to do anything with it. You only have to carry it across the threshold down into sleep and let it take root in the dark. And let yourself begin to drift now, holding that single quiet picture of the one you are already slowly becoming. And notice that the phrase asks nothing of you tonight. It does not say now go and become that person. It does not hand you a task to carry into tomorrow. It simply names what is already happening, already underway, already true beneath the surface, and then it lets you rest. This is how the deep mind prefers to work. Not through strain, but through recognition. You are not building someone new out of nothing while you are exhausted and lying in the dark. You are simply turning gently towards someone who is already here. Think of how a photograph develops slowly in the dark. The image rising up out of the blankness. Not because anyone is forcing it, but because everything needed for it to appear was already there, only waiting for the right conditions. That is what is happening in you. The person you are becoming is already present, already forming, and the dark and the quiet of sleep are exactly the conditions in which the image rises. You do not have to develop the photograph by hand. You only have to leave it in the dark and let it come. And so, as you say the phrase, do not reach for anything. Do not try to feel transformed. Simply say it and let it be true, and let yourself begin to sink. I am becoming the person I have always quietly known I could be. The becoming does not require your effort tonight. It only requires your rest. Just rest now. Just breathe. Let the image rise on its own in the dark while you let go. Let me give you another way to hold this one, because it is the foundation that all the others rest on. Think of someone you have known who grew into themselves slowly over years. So slowly that no single day showed the change. And yet when you looked back across the whole span of time, they had become someone unmistakably more themselves. You could not point to the day it happened, because it did not happen on any one day. It happened in 10,000 small moments. Most of them invisible. Most of them at night in the quiet, in the slow underground work that no one sees. That is how becoming actually happens. Not in a flash, not in a single decision, in the slow, patient accumulation of nights, each one carrying you a little further toward the person you already are underneath. And so tonight is one of those nights. Not the night everything changes. Just one more night of quiet becoming, one more turn of the slow wheel, one more small carrying of yourself toward yourself. You do not have to make tonight dramatic. You only have to let it be. One of the many nights that looked back on someday will have added up to the person you became. Just rest now. Just breathe. I am becoming the person I have always quietly known I could be. One more night of it. One more quiet turn toward home. Let yourself drift now, becoming as you always have been in the dark while you sleep. There is a quiet experiment you can run with this phrase over the 7 nights. And I want to tell you about it now so the deep mind can begin to expect it. Each night as you say, I am becoming the person I have always quietly known I could be. You do not change the words, but you let the picture grow a little clearer. The first night, perhaps you see almost nothing, only a vague sense of someone. But by the third night or the fourth, the image begins to sharpen on its own. You begin to sense how that person carries themselves, how they speak, how they meet the small difficulties of a day. You are not inventing this. You are remembering it, recovering it, letting the deep mind show you what it already holds. And by the seventh night, the person you have been picturing will no longer feel like someone you are reaching toward. They will feel like someone you are catching up to, someone just ahead of you on the same road, close enough now to touch. That is how the becoming reveals itself. Not all at once, but a little more each night as the picture clarifies and you realize you are never becoming a stranger, only returning to someone you have always known. Just rest now. Just breathe. Let the picture be whatever it is tonight, clear or dim, it does not matter. It will sharpen on its own across the nights to come. For now, simply hold it and let yourself drift. Becoming in the dark. The second phrase is this: tomorrow I will meet the day as someone who is already healing, not someone waiting to be healed. Healing, not healed. Because healing was never a place you arrive at. It is a direction you face. And the moment you speak this phrase into the dark, the deep mind begins to gather itself around a single question. What does someone who is already healing do when they open their eyes in the morning? Notice how different this is from what you have been told. So much of what the world tells you about change asks you to become someone else entirely. To fix what is broken in you. To overcome what is weak in you. To replace who you are with some better, stronger, more impressive version. And every time you have tried to do that, you have failed and felt worse because you were reaching for something that felt foreign to you, something pressed onto you from outside. Jung saw healing in a completely different way. He did not believe you needed to become someone new. He believed you needed to return to who you already were. Underneath the conditioning, underneath the script you were handed by your family and your circumstances, underneath the performance you learned in order to be accepted. In his understanding, healing is not addition. It is subtraction. It is the slow setting down of everything that was never yours to carry in the first place. The voice that tells you that you are not enough. The belief that you have to earn the right to rest. The old idea that love must be deserved through being perfect. None of those were ever you. They were placed on you so long ago that you mistook them for your own thoughts. And healing is simply the long, gentle work of letting them fall away. So when you say, I am already healing, you are not pretending the wounds were never there. You are not telling yourself a comforting lie. You are acknowledging something real. That you are already different than you were a year ago. That the part of you that used to break under pressure has begun quietly to hold. That the process has already started. Whether or not you gave it permission, whether or not you noticed, the deep mind hears this and it begins to arrange tomorrow around the image. Not of someone who has finished, but of someone in the middle of the journey. Someone walking with a limp perhaps, but walking. Someone still tender in places, but moving. Someone healing. Just rest now. Just breathe. Let the second phrase settle beside the first. I am already healing, not waiting to be healed. Carry it down with you into sleep and let it do its quiet work in the dark while you rest. There is nothing you need to fix tonight. There is only the slow and gentle setting down of what was never yours and the quiet return to who you have always been beneath it. Let yourself drift there now. And there is a great relief hidden inside this phrase if you let yourself feel it. Because for so long you may have believed that you had to wait, that you could not rest, could not be at peace, could not stop bracing against yourself until you were finally healed, finally fixed, finally arrived at some far-off place where you were whole at last. And so you held your breath through your whole life, waiting for a finish line that kept receding. But healing was never a finish line. It was the road itself. Which means you do not have to wait to be at peace until you are healed. You can be at peace now in the middle of it. Walking, still tender, still mending. The peace was never on the other side of the healing. The peace is available inside the healing. The moment you stop demanding that it be finished before you are allowed to feel it. So let yourself feel it now. Not the peace of having arrived. The deeper peace of being on the way and knowing it and no longer fighting the fact that you are still in motion. You are healing. That is enough. It has always been enough. Just rest now. Just breathe. Let the relief move through you. The relief of no longer having to be finished before you are allowed to rest. You are already healing and you are already allowed and you can let go now. Into the quiet exactly as you are. And notice that this phrase asks you to be kind to yourself in a way you may not be used to. Because to say, "I am already healing," is to admit that you were wounded. And many of us would rather not admit that. We would rather believe we are fine, that we have handled it, that we are past it. Admitting the wound feels like weakness. But there is no healing without first allowing that there was a hurt. The body cannot mend a wound it pretends is not there, and neither can the soul. So when you say, "I am already healing," you are doing something quietly brave. You are admitting the hurt and claiming the mending in the same breath. You are saying, "Yes, I was wounded, and yes, I am healing," both at once without shame in either direction. That is a kind of self-compassion that most people never learn. The willingness to be both hurt and healing at the same time without despising yourself for the wound or rushing yourself toward the cure. Tonight you can hold both. You were hurt. You are healing. Neither one cancels the other. And neither one is anything to be ashamed of. Just rest now. Just breathe. I am already healing. Not waiting to be healed. Be gentle with the wounded places as they mend. They are doing their quiet work, and so are you, and there is no hurry, and there is nothing to be ashamed of. Let yourself rest in the gentleness of it. Now, let me give you a picture to hold with this one, because the deep mind takes pictures more easily than ideas. Imagine a field that was burned some time ago. If you came to it in the first days after the fire, you would see only the blackened ground, the ruin, the loss, and you might believe that nothing would ever grow there again. But if you knew anything about land, you would know that beneath that black surface, something was already happening. The fire had cleared what needed clearing. The soil underneath was already quietly preparing. And if you came back in the spring, you would find the first green pushing up through the ash. Not in spite of the fire, but in part because of it. You are like that field. Whatever burned in your life, whatever season of loss or breaking you have come through did not leave you barren. It cleared ground. And beneath the surface where you cannot see it, the slow green work of healing has already begun. You do not have to make it happen. You only have to know that it is happening the way the field does not have to force the spring. Only wait for it, trusting the deep work going on beneath the ash. Just rest now. Just breathe. I am already healing, not waiting to be healed. The green is already rising beneath the surface in ground that was cleared by what you came through. Rest now and let it rise in its own time while you sleep. And if you have lived a long time believing that you were broken, this phrase may meet some resistance in you, and that is all right. There is a strange comfort in believing we are broken, because broken things are not expected to do anything. If you are broken, you are excused. You do not have to try, because what would be the point? And so part of you may cling to the brokenness, may resist the idea that you are healing, because healing means you are no longer excused, no longer allowed to give up. Notice that resistance gently if it is there. And then notice that healing does not demand anything harsh of you. It does not say you are fine now. So get up and perform. It says only you are mending slowly in your own time, and you do not have to rush it, and you do not have to be finished to be worthy of care. You can be healing and still be gentle with yourself. In fact, you must be. The healing happens through the gentleness, not despite it. Just rest now. Just breathe. I am already healing, not waiting to be healed. Let go of the comfort of being broken gently and step into the gentler truth of being someone who is mending. There is more room to rest there than you might think. Rest now, healing in your own time with all the gentleness you have so long denied yourself. The third phrase is this: I release what does not belong to me. This may be the hardest one of all, because so much of what you carry was never yours to begin with. It belonged to the people who shaped you. The ones who hurt you when you were too young to understand that their cruelty was about them and not about your worth. The voices that told you what kind of person you were, what you were capable of, what you would never be. The quiet messages you absorbed about what you had to do and be and produce in order to deserve love. You have carried these for so long that you no longer hear them as foreign. You hear them as your own thoughts. You lie in the dark and they speak in your own voice. You are behind. You are not enough. You should have done more by now. You should have been different. And every night you fall asleep with those voices playing. You carry them across the threshold and let them sink a little deeper into the soil of who you are. Jung had a name for the parts of ourselves we were taught to disown. He called it the shadow, and the shadow is not the evil in you. It is simply everything you were told was unacceptable and so pushed down out of sight. But here is the strange truth he understood. The more you push something down, the more it runs you from below. The shadow does not disappear when you refuse to look at it. It simply moves into the basement and begins quietly to run the house. When you say, "I release what does not belong to me," you are not trying to become a better person. You are trying to become a truer one. You are asking the deep mind to begin the slow work of separating what is actually yours from what was handed to you and called yours. And that work does take time. It can take years. But it begins the moment you name it. You do not have to know yet what belongs to you and what does not. You do not have to sort it all out tonight. You only have to say the phrase and let the deep mind begin, because it already knows. It has always known which of those voices were never yours. It has been waiting perhaps for a very long time for you to simply give it permission to let them go. Let me ask you to do one small thing here, because this is the heart of the whole practice and the place where something often begins to loosen. If even one of these phrases has already touched something you have been carrying in silence, leave the number 7 in the comments below. In the symbols Jung studied across his whole life, the number 7 stood for exactly this: the movement from being broken into pieces toward becoming whole. So if you are feeling that movement begin even slightly, leave the 7 and know that every other person who left one was sitting somewhere in the dark carrying something heavy just like you. Just rest now. Just breathe. I release what does not belong to me. Let the words move through you and carry some of the weight away as they go. You were never meant to carry all of it. Not the voices that were never yours. Not the burdens that were handed to you before you could refuse them. Let them begin to fall away now quietly in the dark while you rest. And there is something worth understanding about how this letting go actually happens, because it is gentler than you might fear. You do not have to tear these things out of yourself. You do not have to fight them or analyze them or understand exactly where each one came from. You only have to loosen your grip. So much of what you carry, you are carrying because you are holding onto it, gripping it without even knowing your hand is closed. The voices that say you are not enough. You have been clutching them so long that holding them feels like part of you. But they are not part of you. They are simply in your hand. And releasing them is not a battle. It is the simple quiet act of opening your fingers and letting them fall. Tonight, you do not have to do anything more than that. You do not have to decide which voices were never yours. You do not have to confront anyone or relive anything or solve the whole history of how you came to carry all of this. You only have to open your hand in the dark and let what is not yours begin to fall away. The deep mind will take care of the rest. It knows the difference between what is yours and what was handed to you. It has always known. It has only been waiting for you to loosen your grip enough to let it begin. Just rest now. Just breathe. I release what does not belong to me. Open your hand in the dark. Let it fall. You will be lighter in the morning, and you will not even be able to say exactly what you sat down. Only that something you had been carrying for a very long time is no longer there. And there is one more thing to understand about what you carry, which is that some of it was never even meant for you to hold. We absorb the unhappiness of the people who raised us. We take on burdens that belong to a whole family, a whole line of people passed down because no one before us knew how to set them down. The anxiety that runs in your blood may have started in someone who lived long before you, who had real reasons to be afraid, and it was handed down and down until it reached you, who carries it now without even knowing whose it originally was. When you say, "I release what does not belong to me," you are speaking to this, too. To the inherited weight, to the burdens that were never yours, that were placed in your arms before you were old enough to ask what they were. You are allowed to set those down. You are allowed to be the one in the long line who finally says, "This was never mine," and opens their hands and lets it fall. You do not betray anyone by doing this. You free them and you free yourself. And perhaps you free those who come after you, who will not have to carry what you set down tonight. Just rest now. Just breathe. I release what does not belong to me. Even the oldest weights, even the ones handed down from before you were born. Open your hands in the dark and let them fall. All of them, the ones that were never yours, and rest now lighter in the quiet. And as you lie here with your hands open in the dark, releasing what was never yours, notice that you do not have to push anything away with force. The releasing is not an effort. It is the ending of an effort. All this time, holding these things has been the work. Carrying them has been the strain. And letting go is simply the moment you stop doing that work. The moment you set down the load you have been straining under for so long that the strain became invisible to you, became just the way it felt to be you. But it was never just the way it feels to be you. It was the weight. And without it, there is a lightness that is closer to who you actually are. So let the releasing be a rest, not a task. Let it be the laying down of a burden, which is one of the sweetest feelings a tired person can know. You have carried so much for so long tonight. You can set it down. Not all of it at once perhaps, but some of it. Whatever is ready to fall. Just rest now. Just breathe. I release what does not belong to me. Let the laying down be a relief. The deep relief of a load setting down after being carried too far for too long. Rest now in the new lightness in the quiet with your hands open and empty in the dark. The fourth phrase is this. I trust what is unfolding even when I cannot see it yet. This is not blind faith. This is not telling yourself that everything happens for a reason or that some plan is being carried out above your head. It is something quieter and more grounded than that. It is the simple acknowledgement that there is a part of you that knows things before your thinking mind catches up. Jung called this deeper part the self with a capital letter. Not the self you show the world. Not the face you wear or the role you play or the personality you have arranged for other people to see. The deeper self, the organizing center beneath your thoughts and your moods and your reactions. The part of you that has been quietly steering all along. You have felt it before, even if you never had a name for it. In the moments when you knew something was wrong, even though everything looked fine on the surface. In the moments when you made a choice that made no sense on paper and it turned out to be the only choice that could have been right. In the moments when you recognized a person or a place or a pattern before you had any reason to. That is the self. It is not magic. It is not a voice from somewhere else. It is the gathered intelligence of everything you have ever lived through. Held in a language your thinking mind cannot read directly. The language of dream and image and the quiet sensations in your body that you have learned to talk yourself out of. When you say, I trust what is unfolding even when I cannot see it yet. You are not giving up your responsibility. You are not going limp and waiting for life to carry you. You are acknowledging that you do not need to see the entire road in order to take the next step on it. You are telling the deep mind that you are willing to be guided by something steadier than your fear, something deeper than your need to control how everything turns out. And the deep mind answers not with certainty but with movement. You wake the next morning and you do one thing you had not planned. You send the message you had been avoiding. You step back from the thing that was quietly draining you. You say no to the obligation you had only been carrying out of guilt and you do not entirely know why. You just find yourself doing it. And later, sometimes much later, you understand that it was exactly the right thing at exactly the right time, that you could not have explained it when it happened. That is trust. Not knowing how it ends, simply being willing to take the next step in the dark. Just rest now. Just breathe. I trust what is unfolding, even when I cannot see it yet. Let that phrase loosen the grip of everything you have been trying so hard to control. You do not have to hold the whole map tonight. You do not have to know how any of it turns out. You only have to rest and trust and let the deeper part of you keep doing quietly what it has been doing all along. Let yourself be carried now just a little into sleep. And consider how much of your life has been spent trying to see the whole road before you were willing to take a single step on it. You have wanted the guarantee. You have wanted to know how it ends before you began. You have stood at the edge of so many things waiting for a certainty that was never going to come. Because certainty is not how a life unfolds. A life unfolds the way a path through fog unfolds. Only a few steps visible at a time. The next stretch appearing only once you have walked far enough to see it. You were never going to be shown the whole way at once. You were only ever going to be shown the next step and then the next. Each one appearing as you went. And the deeper part of you knows how to walk in fog. It has been doing it your whole life. In every moment you move forward without proof. Every time you took a step, you could not justify and it turned out to be right. That is the part you are learning to trust tonight. Not the part that demands to see the end. The part that knows how to take the next step in the dark and trusts that the one after it will appear in time. Just rest now. Just breathe. I trust what is unfolding even when I cannot see it yet. Let go of the need to see the whole road. You only ever needed the next step and it will be there in the morning. For now, there is only rest and the quiet trust that something in you knows the way even here, even in the dark. And there is a peace that comes from this trust that is different from any other peace because it does not depend on things going the way you want. Most of our peace is fragile because it rests on circumstances, on things working out, on the people around us behaving as we need them to. The moment any of that shifts, the peace collapses. But the peace that comes from trusting what is unfolding does not depend on circumstances at all. It rests on something deeper. The quiet confidence that even what looks like going wrong may be part of a movement you cannot yet see. That the path is still the path even where it bends in a direction you did not choose. This does not mean everything that happens is good. It does not mean you welcome pain or pretend that loss is gain. It means only that you no longer need to know in every moment exactly how things will resolve in order to be at peace in the meantime. You can let the picture stay unfinished. You can let the story stay in the middle. You can rest inside the not yet knowing instead of tearing yourself apart trying to force the ending into view. Just rest now. Just breathe. I trust what is unfolding even when I cannot see it yet. Let the unfinished story be unfinished tonight. You do not need the ending in order to rest. You only need to trust that the next step will be there in the morning and that something in you knows how to take it. Rest now in the peace that does not depend on knowing. There is an old image that fits this phrase. The image of a seed underground. When a seed is first planted, nothing appears to be happening. To anyone watching the surface, the ground is simply bare and stays bare day after day with no sign of anything at all. But under the soil, in the dark, the seed is doing the most important work of its whole life. It is breaking open. It is sending down roots. It is gathering everything it needs before it ever shows a single leaf above the ground. And if the seed could worry, it might despair during those dark days, seeing nothing, certain that nothing was happening, not understanding that the invisibility was the work, that the dark was exactly where it needed to be. You are often in that underground time without knowing it. The times in your life when nothing seems to be happening, when you cannot see any progress, when the surface of your life looks bare. These are so often the times when the deepest work is going on beneath, out of sight, where you cannot measure it or rush it. Trusting what is unfolding means trusting the underground time. It means not despairing at the bare surface because you have learned that the bare surface is often just the visible face of invisible work. Just rest now. Just breathe. I trust what is unfolding even when I cannot see it yet. Trust the underground time. Trust the dark where the roots are growing. Nothing showing on the surface does not mean nothing is happening. Rest now in the dark where the deepest work is quietly being done. And there is a particular comfort in this phrase for the nights when everything feels uncertain. When you cannot see how any of it will resolve, when the not knowing presses on you like a weight on those nights, this phrase is not asking you to suddenly feel certain. It is offering you something better than certainty, which is the permission to rest without it. Because certainty was never available anyway. No one has ever had it. The people who seem most sure are not actually seeing the future. They have only made peace with not seeing it. And that peace is available to you tonight, not as an answer to your uncertainty, but as a way of resting inside it. You do not have to resolve the not knowing before you sleep. You can carry it gently into the dark, held loosely, trusting that the morning will show you a little more than tonight does, and that this is all it has ever needed to do. Just rest now. Just breathe. I trust what is unfolding even when I cannot see it yet. Let the uncertainty be held loosely tonight, not solved, only held while you rest inside it, trusting the slow unfolding that has carried you this far and will carry you still. Rest now in the not knowing at peace. The fifth phrase is this: I am allowed to rest without earning it. For some of you, this is the one that will change everything. Because you have spent your whole life believing that rest is something you are allowed only after you have worked hard enough, achieved enough, proven enough, and because the line that marks enough keeps moving, just out of reach. You never actually rest. You collapse. You burn out. You get sick. And only then, when your body finally forces the matter, do you stop. And even then, lying still at last, you feel guilty for it. Jung understood how completely the modern world trains a person to become their output. To measure their worth by what they produce, to believe somewhere deep down that to stop producing is to stop deserving. And he understood the cost of that bargain, which is the slow loss of the self. Because the self cannot be measured. It does not fit on any record of achievement. It produces nothing the world counts. It simply is quietly beneath all the doing. So when you say, I am allowed to rest without earning it, you are not being lazy. You are not giving up. You are reclaiming something that was taken from you so long ago you forgot it was yours. You are remembering that you are not a machine that justifies itself through output. That rest is not a reward to be earned at the end of a long enough day. Rest is the ground in which everything is quietly put back together. It is the space where the deep mind takes all the unprocessed pieces of your life and slowly weaves them into something whole. If you never rest, you never integrate. And if you never integrate, you do not actually grow. You only accumulate more and more until something gives way. This phrase is permission, not from me, from you, to yourself. Permission to lie down, to close your eyes without a deadline waiting on the other side of them. And the moment you give yourself that permission, the deep mind begins to trust you because it can feel that you are no longer running on the old fear that drove you into the ground. You are resting now the way a tree rests in winter. Not in failure, not in guilt, but because it is simply time. And let me say something quietly here, because this is the place to say it. If falling asleep like this in this kind of peace with this kind of permission is something you want more of. I make these meditations every week for the people who choose to walk this path more closely, ad-free and uninterrupted, so that nothing ever breaks the spell and pulls you back just as you are letting go. If that is something you need right now, you will find the way there waiting for you below whenever you are ready. But for tonight, there is nothing you need to do and nowhere you need to go. There is only this. Just rest now. Just breathe. I am allowed to rest without earning it. Let that permission move all the way through you into the oldest and most tired parts of you. The ones that have been waiting so long to be allowed to stop. You have earned nothing and you need to earn nothing. And still you are allowed to rest. Rest now. And notice how strange it is that you have to give yourself permission for something a tree does without a moment's hesitation. The tree does not feel guilty when it drops its leaves and goes still for the winter. It does not lie awake accusing itself of laziness for stopping. It does not believe it must earn its dormancy through a productive enough summer. It simply rests because it is time to rest, because rest is part of how it lives, as much a part as the growing. And you are no different. Though you have been taught to believe you are. You have been taught that your stillness must be earned, that your rest is a debt you pay off with enough labor. But that was never true. It was only ever a story handed to you by a world that wanted your output. The deeper truth, the one your body has always known, is that rest is not the opposite of a good life. Rest is part of a good life. It is the winter without which there is no spring. The stillness without which nothing is ever renewed. So let yourself rest tonight the way the tree rests, without apology, without guilt, without the feeling that you must justify it. You do not have to earn this. It was always yours. Just rest now. Just breathe. I am allowed to rest without earning it. Let the old guilt fall away. The guilt that was never yours. The belief that you had to deserve your own rest. You are resting now because it is time. The way the tree rests, and there is nothing to feel guilty for and nothing to earn and nowhere to be but here in the quiet letting go. And there is something deeper still beneath this permission, which is the quiet truth that your worth was never tied to your output in the first place. You were worthy of rest on the day you were born, before you had produced anything at all. A newborn does nothing, achieves nothing, earns nothing. And yet no one looks at a sleeping infant and thinks it has not earned its rest. Its worth is simply assumed, complete, requiring no justification. And that worth did not leave you when you grew up. It only got buried under a lifetime of being told you had to earn your place. But it is still there underneath. The same complete and unearned worth you were born with. The worth that does not rise when you achieve and does not fall when you rest. When you give yourself permission to rest without earning it, you are reaching back through all the years of conditioning to touch that original worth again. The one that was never about what you produced. The one that was simply yours because you exist. Just rest now. Just breathe. I am allowed to rest without earning it. Touch the worth you were born with. The one that needs no justification. The one that has been yours all along. Beneath everything you were told you had to do, rest in it now. You do not have to earn what was always already yours. And as this permission settles into you, notice how much of your exhaustion was never really about how much you did, but about how little you let yourself stop. It is not only the work that wears a person down. It is the absence of true rest between the work. The way the mind keeps running even when the body lies still. The way some part of you stays on call even in your sleep, braced for the next demand. Real rest. The rest you are giving yourself permission for now is different. It is the rest where you are not on call, where nothing is waiting just behind your closed eyes. Where you have set down not only the tasks but the readiness for tasks. Not only the doing but the constant preparation for more doing. That kind of rest restores something the other kind never touches. It reaches the deep tiredness. The one that sleep alone has not been curing. The tiredness of a person who has not felt truly off duty in years. Give yourself that now. Not just sleep. Rest. The deep kind. The kind where you are finally completely not needed by anyone, not even by yourself. Just rest now. Just breathe. I am allowed to rest without earning it. Step all the way off duty now. Nothing is waiting behind your eyes. Nothing is on call. There is only the deep rest you have not let yourself have in so long. And you are allowed it now completely in the quiet dark. The sixth phrase is this: I am willing to see what I have been avoiding. This is the phrase that separates the people who actually change from the people who only talk about it. Because most of a life can be spent in a quiet, careful avoidance. Avoiding the conversation. Avoiding the feeling. Avoiding the memory that surfaces and is quickly pushed back down. Avoiding the truth you already know but do not want to say out loud even to yourself. And every night when you lie down, you avoid it one more time. You reach for your phone. You fill the silence with anything at all so that you do not have to be alone with the thing you have been turning away from. Jung believed that the deep mind is not trying to harm you. It is trying to make you whole. And to make you whole, it has to bring back the parts of you that were sent away. The anger you were told was unacceptable. The grief you were told to be done with by now. The longing you were told was too much. The fear you were taught to hide because it made you look weak. None of those parts are gone. They are only waiting, just out of sight, for you to be willing to look at them again. When you say, I am willing to see what I have been avoiding, you are not throwing open a door onto something that will overwhelm you. You are not inviting a flood. You are simply telling the deep mind that you are ready to stop running, that you have grown strong enough now to hold what you could not hold before. And the deep mind is gentle with this. It does not show you everything at once. It shows you one thing, just one. In a dream you half remember. In a memory that drifts up the next afternoon. In a moment that catches you off guard and stirs something you thought was long buried. And you look at it. Not forever, just long enough to truly see it. And in being seen, it begins slowly to lose its grip on you. I want to say one thing clearly and gently here. If what surfaces is very heavy, the kind of thing that feels like too much to hold alone, you do not have to hold it alone and you should not have to. There are people trained to help carry exactly that weight, and reaching for them is not weakness. It is wisdom. The willingness is what is yours tonight. The willingness to stop pretending you are fine when you are not. The willingness to stop performing a strength you do not feel. When what you actually need is to be met gently in the tender places. Just rest now. Just breathe. I am willing to see what I have been avoiding. You do not have to see it tonight. You only have to be willing. Let that willingness be enough for now. And let the rest come slowly in its own time when you are ready. For tonight there is only rest and the quiet courage of having stopped running. Let yourself drift now, held and safe with nothing left to flee. And there is a kind of freedom that comes only after you stop running. A freedom you cannot feel while you are still fleeing. When you spend your energy avoiding something, that thing follows you everywhere, just behind your shoulder, shaping every move you make. Even though you never turn to look at it, the running itself is exhausting, far more exhausting than the thing you are running from would be if you simply turned and faced it. And the strange mercy of it is that the things we avoid are almost always smaller when we finally look than they were in the avoiding. The monster in the dark shrinks the moment the light touches it. The feeling you could not bear to feel moves through you and is gone once you stop bracing against it. The memory you could not face loses its grip the moment you let yourself remember it fully. Avoidance keeps these things alive and powerful by keeping them just out of sight. Willingness. Simply the willingness to look begins to dissolve them. You do not have to look tonight. You only have to stop running. You only have to set down the exhausting work of avoidance just for now, just for tonight. And let yourself rest with nothing chasing you. Just rest now. Just breathe. I am willing to see what I have been avoiding. And in being willing, you can finally stop running. And in stopping, you can finally rest. There is nothing chasing you here. There is nothing behind your shoulder in the dark. There is only the quiet and your breath and the deep peace of no longer having to flee. And notice that the willingness itself is already a kind of healing even before you have looked at anything. Because the part of you that has been avoiding has also been afraid all this time, carrying a quiet dread of the thing just out of sight. And the moment you become willing to look, that dread begins to ease even before you have seen anything, simply because you are no longer bracing against the looking. The fear was never only about the thing itself. It was about the endless effort of not looking at it. The exhausting vigilance of keeping it out of sight, and willingness ends that vigilance. It says, I will look when it is time. and so I no longer have to spend my strength keeping it hidden. There is rest in that, a deep rest. The rest of a sentry who has finally been relieved of a post they have held for far too long. You can put down the watch tonight. You do not have to keep guarding against what you have been avoiding. You have become willing to see it when the time comes. And so you no longer have to spend the night holding it down. Just rest now. Just breathe. I am willing to see what I have been avoiding. Put down the long watch. Let the vigilance end. You are willing now. And so you are free to rest with nothing left to guard against. Nothing left to hold down in the dark. Rest now, relieved of the post at last. And here is the last thing to understand about willingness, which is that it changes you even if nothing ever surfaces at all. Because the person who is willing to see what they have been avoiding is already a different person from the one who is fleeing. The fleeing person lives small-hemmed in their whole life, arranged around the things they cannot look at. Every path quietly bending to avoid the same few rooms. But the willing person lives larger, freer, no longer organizing their entire existence around avoidance. Even if the willing person never has to look at anything dramatic, even if nothing ever rises up to be faced, they are already living more freely simply by having stopped running. The willingness itself is the freedom. It is not about what you will eventually see. It is about no longer living in flight. And so tonight, in becoming willing, you have already changed, already grown larger, already stepped out of the small hemmed-in life of avoidance into something more open. Whether or not you ever face a single specific thing, just rest now. Just breathe. I am willing to see what I have been avoiding. The willingness alone has already freed you, already made your life larger, already let you stop arranging everything around what you would not look at. Rest now in that larger, freer life with nothing left to flee, nothing left to arrange yourself around, only the open quiet and your slow breath in the dark. The seventh phrase is this: I am exactly where I need to be, not where you wanted to be. Not where you thought you would be by now, where you need to be. This is the phrase that ends the war. The long quiet war between who you are and who you believe you should have become. The war between the life you are actually living and the imaginary perfect life you have been holding up beside it like a ruler, measuring yourself short again and again. Jung spent his life among people who were suffering. And he came to see that a great deal of that suffering came not from the circumstances of their lives, but from their refusal to accept the lives they actually had. People who had arrived at the very things they thought they wanted and were still in pain because some part of them could not accept that this here now was their real life. Not a rough draft to be corrected later. Not a waiting room before the real thing began. The actual life, the only one. When you say, I am exactly where I need to be, you are not surrendering to mediocrity. You are not giving up on anything that matters. You are acknowledging something. Jung understood deeply that the fight against your own reality is the source of most of your suffering. That the part of you forever insisting this should not be happening, I should be further along, I should have figured this out by now, is the very part that keeps you stuck because you cannot move forward from a place you refuse to stand in. You cannot grow from ground you are pretending you are not on. You have to arrive first fully here in this body, in this life, in this exact and imperfect moment with all its unfinished business and all its uncertainty. And the moment you stop fighting it, the moment you say, I am exactly where I need to be, something loosens. Not out in the world, inside you, the tightness in your chest eases. The voice that has been demanding you do more, be more, fix all of it right now finally goes quiet. And in that quiet, you can hear something else. Something that has been waiting underneath the noise for you to stop long enough to listen. Perhaps you are wondering whether becoming this kind of person will cost you. Whether laying down the constant striving, the endless self-correction, the war with yourself will somehow leave you less than you were, slower, softer, less able to meet the demands of your life. It will not. What it will cost you is the suffering you have been calling discipline, the exhaustion you have been calling ambition, the loneliness you have been calling independence, the performance you have been calling your personality. It will only cost you what was never really yours to begin with. Carl Jung said that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Not who you were told to be, not who you learned to be in order to be safe, who you actually are beneath all of it. The one who has been waiting in the quiet this whole time for you to come back. And that one does not ask you to be perfect. They do not ask you to have it all worked out. They do not ask you to earn your way into rest or healing or the simple right to exist without apology. They ask only this, that at the end of the day, in the few minutes before sleep, you stop and you speak to them in the language they understand, not commands, not goals, images. I am becoming, I am healing. I release. I trust. I rest. I am willing to see. I am exactly where I need to be. 7 phrases, 7 nights. You do not have to believe they will work. You only have to carry them across the threshold into the dark. The way you would speak gently to someone you have been apart from for a very long time and are only now quietly beginning to know again. The door is there. It has always been there. You have walked past it every night of your life. Tonight you know where it is. So let yourself go through it now. Just rest now. Just breathe. Just be. Let the phrases dissolve. Let my voice fade. Let everything you were carrying set itself down at last. You are becoming who you are. You are already healing. You have released what was never yours. You trust what is unfolding. You are allowed to rest. You are willing when the time comes to see, and you are exactly where you need to be. Sleep now. You are on your way home, and you always were. And there is a deep rest that becomes possible only here. At the end of the war that was never possible while the fighting went on, because all the while you were at war with your own life. Some part of you could never fully rest, could never fully lie down, because a part of you was always braced for the next battle against yourself. Always on guard, always measuring, always finding you short. That bracing is exhausting in a way that goes deeper than the body. It is the exhaustion of a person who has never once been allowed to simply be where they are. Who has spent every moment being told by their own mind that they should be somewhere else, someone else further along, more finished, more impressive. And the moment you lay that ward down, the moment you say, I'm exactly where I need to be, and mean it even a little, the bracing stops, and a tiredness you did not even know you were carrying is finally allowed to become rest. You can feel it happening now. Perhaps the long-held tension beginning to release. The soldier in you who has been fighting your own life finally allowed to set down the weapon and sleep. There is no battle tonight. There is no front line. There is no version of you to defeat and no better place you are failing to reach. There is only here and now, and you exactly where you need to be. Just rest now. Just breathe. Just be. The war is over for tonight. Lay it down. You are exactly where you need to be. And that is enough. And you are enough. And you can finally completely rest. And there is a homecoming in this last phrase that the others have all been leading toward. Because everything we have said tonight, all 7 of these phrases, has really been about one thing. The long journey back to yourself. You became and you healed and you released and you trusted and you rested and you grew willing to see. And now at the end, you simply arrive. You arrive where you have always been. In the only place you could ever actually be, which is here now in your own life, in your own body, in this exact moment that you have spent so long wishing were different. And arriving there finally after the long war, after the long running, after the long exile from your own present life is the deepest homecoming there is. Not a homecoming to a place, a homecoming to the moment you are actually in. To the life that is actually yours, to the self that has been waiting here the whole time for you to stop struggling towards somewhere else and simply come home to where you already are. You are home now. There is nowhere else to get to. There is no further along to reach. There is only here. And you have finally arrived. And you can finally rest. Just rest now. Just breathe. Just be. You are exactly where you need to be. You are home. The journey was always leading here. To this moment, to this breath, to this quiet arrival in your own life. Rest now. Home at last. Exactly where you were always meant to be. If these 7 phrases found you tonight, that was not an accident. So before you drift off, take 1 second to subscribe and leave a comment with the phrase that landed the deepest. It helps this reach the next person lying awake in the dark who needs to hear it too. And so we come to the end. And there is nothing left to reach for and nothing left to do and nowhere left to go. You have carried all 7 phrases to the threshold. You have said them into the dark. And now you can let them go, everyone, because they have done their work simply by being spoken. And the deep mind has received them and will go on working with them through the night while you sleep. You do not have to remember them. You do not have to hold on to a single word. They are already inside you now. Already sinking down into the soil of the deep mind. Already beginning to arrange the quiet ground out of which tomorrow will grow. Your only task now is the easiest task there is. To let go, to stop speaking, stop thinking, stop holding on, and simply sink the rest of the way into sleep. Carried by everything you have set in motion tonight. The door is open. You have walked through it. And on the other side, there is only rest and the slow, quiet work of becoming. In the dark while you sleep, just rest now. Just breathe. Just be. Let the 7 phrases dissolve into the dark. Let my voice grow distant and fade. Let everything go, all of it, and sink now into the deep and gentle sleep that has been waiting for you all along. You are becoming. You are healing. You are free of what was never yours. You are exactly where you need to be. Sleep now. Rest now. You are home and all is well. And you can let go completely now. Into the dark, into the quiet, into sleep. And so here are your 7 phrases gathered now in one place. The 7 things to carry across the threshold each night for the next 7 nights. The first, I am becoming the person I have always quietly known I could be. The second, I am already healing, not waiting to be healed. The third, I release what does not belong to me. The fourth, I trust what is unfolding even when I cannot see it yet. The fifth, I am allowed to rest without earning it. The sixth, I am willing to see what I have been avoiding. And the seventh, I am exactly where I need to be. 7 phrases for 7 nights. You do not have to say all of them every night, though you can. Some nights one will call to you more than the others. And on those nights, you can simply carry that one across and let it be enough. The deep mind does not need all 7 every time. It needs only what you bring it spoken in the right language in the few open minutes at the edge of sleep. And if you do this for 7 nights, something will begin to shift. Not all at once, not dramatically, but unmistakably, the way the light shifts as a season turns so gradually. You cannot name the day it changed. And yet one morning you wake and know that it has. That is how this works. Quietly underground in the dark while you sleep. Night after night, 1 phrase at a time carried across the threshold, sinking down into the deep ground where tomorrow grows. Just rest now. Just breathe. 7 phrases, 7 nights. Begin tonight with whichever one calls to you and let the deep mind do the rest. You have everything you need now. The door is open and you know the way through it, and there is nothing left to do but rest and let the quiet work begin. Just be sleep now. You are becoming who you are, and you are exactly where you need to be, and all of it is unfolding even now, even in the dark. Even as you let go and drift at last into sleep.